shadow, generational turnaround. We rise to follow, for the young, the purpose denied. We bring truth, proof, no longer to hide. Generational turnaround, we're on the scene, interviewing the wrong lead, convicted so keen that God knows, making choices astray, preventing them from walking a dangerous way. The numbers of the youth, staggering it seems, their belief in any means, even extreme, but we call upon God as our first reaction, offering an alternative, a divine attraction. Special disappear, who been where they aspire, to detour them to show a path is higher, a profitable outcome, pleasing to God's sight.
Hello, everyone. It's Judy Ambrose James, and welcome to Generational Turnaround Podcast, where we seek the truth and then we bring you the proof. And that's through our guests who comes in freely and share their experience. And you all know it's all about turning around our young people at this time in their life. And we know technology is taking over. So they're all on Facebook and TikTok. But they're also saying that they're going to get theirs by any means necessary. So my guest today, Eliza, she is here, Perez, to talk to you, my young people, because she was young. And she's going to tell you about her experience. So I'm not going to take up all the time. Eliza, hello. Thank you for coming.
Hi, how are you?
Eliza, tell us a little bit about who you were when everything happened to you and who you are now.
Well, back then my name was Lisa. So that's why I ran with that name. That was a name that I used, that I grew up with. That's the name the street knew me. That was the lifestyle that I used that name when I was in the lifestyle of selling drugs. I grew up in a family of 6, where we were very much exposed to a lot of activity that we shouldn't have been. And we ended up getting enticed by it and then ended up growing up and getting involved in it, which is selling drugs. My mom, my dad were big time drug dealers. So we all fell into that. My dad is in prison now. He's been there for over 30 years. My mom has experienced prison as well. I have my sister, my brother, my sister. So as you can see, it's a whole generational thing that we all experienced the penitentiary. So as I said, growing up in that lifestyle, seeing how quick the money came, how easy it was, being out in the street, getting it fast. You think it's fun, you think it's nice, you think it's great, you get the nice things. Money comes fast, but at the end of the day, you don't realize that there's a consequence that comes with it. And the consequence that comes with it is that you're not only hurting your family, you're not hurting your children if you have it, you are hurting your community. You're passing things out and you don't even know if it's going to end up in the hands of your own family members. So, learning what I learned.
How old were you?
I was 30 years. I'm 54 now. So I was 30 years old in the streets. When I really got involved, I was married young then, got married very young at 19. And I was a homebody with my husband, married for a long time. Once we divorced is when I got involved into the streets. And that was in 1999, 2000. Went to prison in 2000, state prison in Effingham, Illinois. I ended up doing Dwight Women's Prison. Then I went to Effingham, Illinois, to Dixon Springs boot camp. I had to do intense boot camp. And it was a real boot camp. It wasn't they cut all my hair off. Was only allowed to spend $3 a month. Extensive calisthenics. I can say one thing, I got really good in shape by the time I got home, but
Yeah.
Yeah. So then ended up in a halfway house in Chicago. Ended up meeting some friends there, staying there. Met my son's dad there. He was in the drug dealing business there. So we hit it off really well, connected really well. Ended up in a relationship, and then started dealing from there. Rode highways back and forth for almost about 10 years. Till we ended up into a 28 indictment, and we all ended up in prison. So it's not all fun and games as you think it is. I could tell you all the things I've had, all the nice material, cars, house, clothes, all of that. I don't have any of it now. And when I came home from the penitentiary, the day I stepped foot off that bus, all I had to my name was a gray sweatpants and a book bag full of personals. I didn't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of.
Did
I
you
had no
have
friends.
friends?
Yes.
All gone.
Yep, all gone. I had no friends. I had nobody to fall back on. I had the only ones that took care of me, honestly, when I was there was my kids. And as many people as you out there in this game and think that you're out there handing out money here and there and these people on your coattail riding, when it all comes down to it, ain't nobody there for you. Everybody closes the doors and walks away. You're all by yourself. So I would think twice of who your friends are. It's always family that's always going to end up being there. And it's the family that we hurt the most. So
go ahead.
Yeah. So with that, I came home in 2017. I did 3.5 years in Alderson Women's Prison. And the reason why I came out early, because I did the RDAP program, which was a drug intensive program that they had there, and it knocked off some time, which at that time is when I sat down and I said, you know what, I'm tired. If I don't change it here, I'm not going to change it out there. So I sat myself down and I took everything and anything they gave me and I took advantage of it. The counseling, the one-on-ones, the groups, the books, the workbooks, everything. I had to reprogram my mind in order to come home and be different, because that's what it is.
Okay,
The transformation.
Let me stop you right there. Did you say you had to reprogram your mind?
Oh yeah.
It's all about mindset.
Yep.
How hard could that have been in prison where you have all these personalities in, and were they trying to keep you from doing exactly that, keeping your mind?
Oh yeah, you get the ones enticing you in there. You get the ones that, hey, come on, let's go do this hustle over here. There's always a hustle somewhere. You know, no matter where you go, there's a hustle somewhere. So that was my main thing, being in prison and me being outside. It goes hand in hand. If I'm not going to stop the hustling inside, I'm not going to stop it when I come home. I had to change everything about me, everything, to the little things, to the big things, to you know, the way I walk, the way I talk, the way everything, you know, I had to change everything about me in order to succeed.
That's why when you're inside, the young people need to hear that, because they're going to have to change everything, not, pick up the Bible and use that for a minute, and then we go and we do this and we do
because
this.
We forget. Listen,
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, when you are in there, of course, there's no temptation. There's nothing, because you don't have access to a lot of things. The real challenge comes and the real change comes to know if you put those things in practice and you stay solid in there and stay consistent with what you wanted to do and the changing that you wanted to make in there, then when you get out, you're going to be able to stand on your 2 feet outside of those walls, because now you can fight. You got your mindset, you already got your tools, you know what you got to do to stay solid and strong out there. You know, you got to stay away from the old people, you got to make new friends, you know, all those things had to change before you came home, and you got to be ready for that, because if you're not going to succeed. It's not going to happen. And you can't do it. Don't get me wrong. You can't do it alone. You got to find support, but you got to find the correct support, the support that is going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You know, they're going to tell you like, no, that is wrong. They're not somebody going to say, you know what, you right. that you can do that, but let's do it. No, that's wrong. You shouldn't do it. You know it's wrong. Not.
Is it someone that's on the outside that comes in there and see you and help you through that way? Or are you talking about somebody that's in prison and they're with you?
Yeah, you can find a mentor in prison. There's women in prison that are there for a while, but they could be your mentor because now they know, they got that wisdom in there. They got the knowledge in there. And if you get under somebody's coattail, they're going to guide you through and help you get out and go do the right things. But if you're going to hang out in the crowd that is just, just doing whatever just doing whatever they want to do in there, sleep, eat, just, whatever, not educating the mind, not reading the book, sitting in the day room, just watching ratchet movies all day, hip hop, this, that, and the other. And, not educating yourself, preparing yourself. You do have people in there, but let me tell you something too.
Okay.
It is very hard for women and men, depending what prison they're in, because a lot of the resources are outdated. A lot of the resources they say they have and they don't, because they don't have the staff to do what needs to be done. I can tell you, when I was in Alderson, I had the opportunity to sit down with some of the people from Washington came down, and they chose some of us to come sit on a panel and talk about the prison system. Like what for women, what could they do to make it transitional for women to come back into society? And my opinion was, choose some days on day rooms where they can get involved with their kids, and the kids come spend the night with them and do things like that, so they can still be involved in their children's lives. Once they lose that separation from the kids, from the family, then when they come home, their kids are not going to respect them. They're not going to be like, you weren't there for me. You weren't this, you weren't that, you weren't that. There's a lot of things that need to be changed for us women that been incarcerated in order to come home. Again, if we don't have the support, the foundation before we come home, we're going to fail. It's inevitable. They're going to fail. I was fortunate enough to come home and be able to come, because of the program I was in, the RDAP. I was able to come home and still continue my counseling outside of here with other programs, because they set you up other places.
Can you say that again? What kind of program were you in that you could come home?
They send you to reentry programs. So they do have some, if you go into the halfway house, you have to do other, you have to get your license ID, you find a job, all those things in order to come outside of there. But if you come from prison, from that RDAP program, you still have to continue your probation. You have to continue the reentry programs, because if you don't complete those successfully, they will take that away from you, and you have to go back and do the time.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just the life I was at. It made me who I am today. I can't change it. I live with it. I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but it allows me to be where I'm at today, and where I'm at in my job right now. I'm an ops manager. I run a property. I travel to other programs as well. And I've dealt with a lot of different people, and me being in that program, at the RDAP program, and me coming home and learning, I'm able to deal with people, not the way I used to deal with people. I can talk to them, not shout at them, we can conversate now, take a time out, things like that, but I'm going to say where I'm at right now, it wasn't easy. There's times that I was working 3 jobs at a time because I didn't want to go back to the streets. I know what it was there. I could have easily picked up a phone, gave a phone call, but for what? To go back to what everything I worked so hard for? No. I worked at one of our bars as a bartender, as a cook. I worked cleaning banks. I worked cleaning offices, and I worked my job. So I did all that when I came home, and that was in 2016, 17. And now I have 3 cars, a house, a salary job that I've been at for 7 years.
Right.
And I worked hard.
So what do you see with these young people now? And like I told you, I heard I'm going to do whatever, by whatever means necessary. What do they mean by that to you? Did you
I feel
hear?
like what they mean to me, that statement means by all means necessary, means I don't care who's in my way. I don't care who I hurt. I don't care the consequences. As long as I get what I want, that's all that matters.
Now, in your time, did you have the same mindset?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, because I was addicted to the money and I wanted that
Addicted
money.
to the money. It's
Oh,
addicted. The way it was said to me, chasing the bag.
oh yeah. Yep. That was me. And guess what? It's like a dog chasing its tail. It's never ending.
Never
You're
ending.
never satisfied. It's never enough.
So what do you say to young women and young men who are chasing the bag and believe that it's it's not that hard when you go in there? Because I've talked to people who's been in 10, 20, 30 years. But these young people, we're losing
Mhm.
our young people.
Oh
We're
yeah.
losing them to the streets, to the drugs, and we're losing them to the graveyard.
Yep.
And what do you feel like parents can do from the beginning? I mean, starting when they were like 5.
Well, I can tell you right now, if you're a parent and you're selling drugs, your kids are going to sell drugs. Because my parents were selling drugs. I'm their child. I sold drugs. So when I was selling drugs, my kids were selling drugs. And I'll tell you right now, to this day, I thank God every day for sending me to prison, for breaking the generational curse of me passing it down to my children, because my children were getting involved in the streets. And then when I went away, they stopped. And now they all work. They own their own homes. They have families. They have children. And I thank the Lord every day for that, because who knows how far my kids would have gone. I've already lost a child. He was 19 years old. I've lost a child myself, a son. So I know what it is to lose. And I couldn't bear to lose another. So I do thank God for allowing me to endure that pain in that prison and help me to change my path for my children. So
Mm.
if you're a parent selling drugs, it's inevitable. Your kids are going to do it because you're showing them.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Okay. Now, what about the children that the parents aren't selling the drugs? It's the friend or the cousin or um there's someone in their circle. How do you get away from that? I mean, that's to me is just as hard because that's
It is.
your
It's going to be hard if you're a parent and your kid is selling drugs. It's going to be very hard, for one, because they're going to feel they're above because now they have money. The
Mhm.
money is a powerful thing. The money makes you think you can buy this, that, and the other, and you don't need nobody, you know. But when you're broke, you need everybody. So it's
Mhm.
not going to last. So if you have a child that's selling drugs and he's out there, there's nothing you can honestly do but either, kick them out, show them tough love, and that's about it, because they're going to have to experience that on their own. You can sit, you can talk to them, you can guide them, but it's up to them to make that change, because you can't force your child, because the more you force, the more they're going to do.
You
So
know,
I
back in I'm just gonna say my day. We made a mistake. Mm, We made it. Wasn't really, really big. And then we maybe did it again, maybe
yeah,
even 3 times. But we lived to go on this another day. It's not happening now.
no,
These kids are not given 1, 2, 3 chances. We if we let them learn the hard way. It's so many of them that don't get another chance. So what do we do there? How can we get their interest on something else? Even technology with the TikTok I would rather see them making money through content.
I mean, I know as much as we want our kids to do the right thing, it's difficult for us, for the parents. It's hard to, it's depending on the situation too, and the child, like how far deep are they? Are they just starting in it? You know, if it's somebody who's been longevity in it, as you know, say they started at 13, they're already 18, it's too late. You know, if you got somebody that's 13, 14, and they're in that thing, if you could pack up and move them somewhere else, that's what you better do. Because if not, that's the life they're going to start leading. There's really, there's really nothing a parent can do unless you're going to call the cops on them. You're going to kick them out. You keep calling the cops on them until they keep going to jail. I mean, then they're going to have animosity against you. They're going to be mad at you. But then later on, they may grow up and realize that you was only doing the right thing to save them. But will they realize that?
So do you get to a point where you just stop? Or do you make it so hard for them that they
make it hard? You got to make it hard. You can't give up.
That's what I'm saying. You
can't give up on your child no matter what, but you got to make it hard.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I'm seeing, that we are giving up after it's just too much. This is too much. I just can't take it anymore. You just got to go. You got to leave. But then you're so worried that they will not return after you turn them out that last time. But what about, is there enough, what do you call it? What you did in the jail, how you found the right facilities, you found the right program.
Well, we don't get to choose. We don't get to choose where we go. They send us where they want us to go.
Well, right, but they're still out here.
Yes.
So do we have enough programs that could make a turnaround system?
I don't know where I'm at. I don't really know of any. I know that we have tried, like some ex-gang members coming out of prison, drug dealers coming out of prison, trying to advocate, you know, in schools, you know, places where teenagers hang out, at parks, you know, things like that. But that's all we have. If you don't, you know, there's no government facility or no paying counselor or anybody that is out in the streets trying to talk to these kids. You know, the prisoners come home and they, you know, want to help these kids, you know, and the funding, the grants, I don't know any of that. You know, I don't know how far that goes, but I know we are here. My stepdaughter, Celia Ramirez, is starting a place called Homeboys Haven in memorial of my son that passed. And they are raising money for a building to bring, we have nothing here for kids in the streets. You know, there's gun violence going on, fights, all kinds of things going on. So she's trying to do, she finally got her 501(c)(3). So she's trying to get volunteers to come in and teach these kids trades like carpentry, computer, changing their oil, changing their tires, you know, computer lab, homework rooms, a laundry room, a gym, you know, things like that. And we already have a list of volunteers that want to come and teach these kids, you know, that's what we're working. That's what we're working on right now.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we've got to do. I'm having what I call it a summit. I activate this generational turnaround summit September the 21st. It's not a convention. It's a summit where we can sit down and we can just hash it out and bring people, speakers we've got to make a turnaround.
Yes.
And we've got to be where we have enough in each city, in each state, where you don't have to wonder where we're going to send them, what we do, where we should know.
Mhm.
If somebody asks us, where can I send my child so that he can get, like you say, want to work on a car, want to work on
Vocational.
vocational. It was mandatory back in my day. It's not
Yeah.
mandatory anymore in school. They don't have to.
Yeah.
So what would you like to leave my viewers with as far as how can we make a generational turnaround in this time, in real time?
We got to be the change. We have to make the change. We have to be the leaders. We have to be the example, regardless of where we are out there in the streets, where we're walking, how we walk, how we talk, how we present ourselves to the children, to the teenagers out there.
Mm-hmm.
They mimic us. So
Yeah.
if they're watching, they're going to follow. So if you're doing the right thing, they going to follow.
That's right. All right. All right. You know, they used to say, don't do as I do, do as
Right.
I say do. But these kids not buying that. They're going to do what you're doing.
But nowadays, we can't even speak that. We got to go by actions now.
Mm-hmm.
We got to show them. Our words don't mean nothing no more. We got to show them.
Mm-hmm. And they will tell you that you're not living it. You're not doing it. What you say, they will just tell you straight up.
We can't just talk it. We got to walk it.
So I want to invite anybody who feel like they have tried it all, but they know something has to be done. They know we have to make a generation, like you say, we have generational curse. And it's a real, real thing. There are so many families who are affected, whether it's mental or not, by the family. You did, I did, the mama did, the papa did, everybody did, so why should not?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you just said it. You're living proof that that's what's going to happen unless we make that turnaround. So thank you so much for joining me. And I know that we got to have a number 2. This is your number 1. But I know I got to have you back. And like I said, I want you to come and be a part of the Generation Turnaround Summit. So please.
Just let me know when and send me information.
I really, really am. So the last thing I have to say, I pray that today has been better than yesterday, but it's not as good as tomorrow. I pray that tomorrow will bring forth a double portion of blessing in the form of opportunity that we never saw coming. So don't worry about a thing. Every little thing gonna be all right, young people. Just have faith. Believe in God. Thank you again, Elise. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Let me see. Let me turn.